Peace. This is Aaron. Peace for Healers. Today is January 1st, 2026. 2026. It's a 1 year or a 10 year, depending on your perspective and what your objective is. But regardless of that, this is a quick video that I'm doing, just a pass down from my guides, or from a collective of my guides, to share and remind people of. And if you follow me, you know I'm working more on being in alignment and doing what it is and sharing what it is that's given to me. So here I am. Um, Before I give this message, I just want to point out, Gratitude Challenge is on. The next 40 days. It officially started today. The next 40 days, there will be something in a post related to gratitude, some thought provoking, some funny, some maybe even a bit ridiculous, but a way to change your mind and point of view. And mostly it's an exercise in making daily gratitude a way of life and a way to increase your vibration simply. And it's one of the simplest ways. And it feels good. It definitely feels good. So join me across the socials for the posts. There will definitely be something daily on IG. There will intermittently be posts on YouTube. I'm shooting for having something that daily on YouTube, but I'm not committing to it, and I haven't been forced to commit to it. Well, yet. um, and then there'll be some component that's going to be done within TikTok. We're still sorting that out, but it'll be there. And then one other quick thing before I get into this: personal development is back again. It's going to be available for this month. I don't think it's going to last beyond this month. And depending on the response for personal development and how my schedule adjusts going into this 2026 year, it may be stopped prior to the end of the month, depending on how my schedule is looking and what I can accommodate, or how far down the line I can accommodate someone that's looking to do the personal development. The way personal development is going to work, it's similar to like before. It's going to be $222.22. It will be for 60-minute sessions plus one follow up 30-minute session after 30 days from your final session. Or really, the follow up session can be anywhere within 90 days of your last session as you deem fit. Personal development can be working on anything that you're looking at improving and growing on with your spiritual path and with your growth. So if you're looking for more information and more connection with your guides, if you're looking for more on your gifts, if you're looking to grow something, if you're looking to work on a skill that you desire to have, um, let's say you're looking at trying to work on something like telekinesis, telepathy, working with crystals. Those are things that fall under the line of personal development. And what I would highly recommend is, if you're not sure, DM me, email me, We can even schedule a call to talk about what development you would like to work on. I am going to be very flexible with working on personal development. This offer is really it's a spectacular offer, and it's something that you're not going to find this open and available for working on just about anything. Um, so definitely DM me or email me with questions, or if you'd like to schedule a talk, we can schedule a time to sit down and talk. Of course, all my other offerings are still available as always. Um, Readings, gifts and guides, 155.55. Um, Card readings, psychic readings, all those things are still available. I'll post prices on those things in the next few days. If you're looking for any of those things, definitely DM me or email me. Also, something that's coming into into its own and into its own growth. If you have a child that's on the spectrum, I can help you with better connecting with your child that's on the spectrum by working with you on your gifts and working with you on understanding your child's gifts. If you're understanding how you're receiving that information, it helps for your communication. And I don't know if everyone listening to this has listened to the telepathy tapes, but there's a whole lot there and a whole lot to be expanded upon when you have the capacity to do so. So that is it. And I want to just get into the message that I have from from my spirit team, or from this collective within my spirit team. Um, you're called you're called upon to look at things from a new light and a new direction in a different way than you ever have before. The world is changing. The spirit world is growing closer. Messages are going to come more frequently from numerous sources. You will need to be able to discern all the things that are going on around you, whether it be messages that you're getting, whether it's from um, a benevolent being or a malevolent being, understanding what's going on in the world. And remember, there's a difference between understanding and a difference between getting wrapped up in what's going on in the world. Understanding is has some importance. Getting wrapped up is definitely not what you want to do because it's a distraction. It's a clear and firm distraction from other things that you could be doing. And those that put these things out there want to see people distracted by other things. So if you allow yourself to be distracted, you're working right into what it is that they want. Um, so you want to be able to focus on those things, but in the process, you must look at things from a new perspective and in a different way, and pay attention to the things that you never paid attention to before. there's there's space between everything. This selenite, you can hear that. It's hard. If you hit somebody over the head with it, it's going to hurt. But regardless, there's molecules that make up this selenite. And those molecules are not all bunched up together. Those molecules may be moving a small amount. They're close enough that I can't easily put my finger through them. Now, someone who's at a certain level of capacity, they can probably stick their finger into a crystal if they've procured that level of achievement. Well, most of us can't. So there's spaces between the atoms here and the atoms and molecules within this crystal. There's spaces between the atoms and molecules that make up this pen. The same for my hand. This my hand exists. My hands can make noise. My hands can pick up and grab. However, there are still molecules that exist within my hand that are moving, and there's space between those molecules. You want to be more aware of the space between things, the resting moments, the quiet moments, the moments where you have no expectation, and the moments that are literally ignored, the moments of nothing. And remember, we all come from a what you could consider a void of nothingness. Source is all that is and all that is not. So source splits itself into source, into source, into souls. Souls split into more souls at times. Souls split and fragment off spirits to inhabit a body, to learn about and procure knowledge about this universe. So, in that process, things end up being forgotten as far as the ability, capacity, connection, and the science. The science already proves that molecules are moving. And with the science proving that molecules are moving, there's no reason to doubt it because it's true. Um, with the spaces, part of getting more in touch with your body and what you're doing is acknowledge the spaces that exist, whether you can see them or not, which you can't really see them, but you know they're there. Acknowledge those spaces and acknowledge that you have a hand that, on the right day and time, could fit right through and between the spaces that exist in that hand versus the space in another object. And yes, there are people that can do that. I'm not one of them, at least not yet, but we'll see. Um, this space applies to it applies to everything really. Let's look at the let's look at the let's look at astrology. and the days. Every day is a new day. But at the beginning and the close of every day, at the beginning or close of every day, there's a brief moment of nothingness. No one pays attention, but just because you don't pay attention doesn't mean it's not there. Um, Nothing in the universe is absolutely continuous. There's a space that applies somewhere. There is no infinite continuous thing. And we're not going to include source in that conversation. But there is nothing that is infinite and continuing on. Even in algebra or geometry, a line that's infinite meets its end somewhere. Infinity meets its end somewhere because things are only as infinite as the universe allows them to be. It's a whole nother story. Um, there's space between your heartbeats. Your heart beats do 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 do. That silent space in there is just as important as the do 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 because they all match up with allowing the flow of blood through the entire body. So without the those moments of silence, the blood either wouldn't flow correctly or the blood would flow too fast or the heart would have to work too hard. And all of these things are not favorable to when a circulation issue comes along. So they are just as important. Um, there's a brief moment, and we're going to jump around a little bit. There's a brief moment before you take on a large activity. Let's say a singer going to perform. There's that brief moment before they step out on stage. And that brief moment is pretty much where it's nothing. It's a preparation for of nothing for nothing that it comes in a flash. Public speakers, same thing. Um, the moon, the moon before it goes into a new sign, the moon goes what's called void of course. When the moon goes void of course, you can't see it. You know it's still there, but you can't see it. So it's void of course, and it's almost as if everything is on a halt for that brief moment. Change of seasons, especially with the solstices. It's a moment, and it's a longer moment, but there's a moment at the change of seasons for the solstices, even for the equinoxes, but it's in a different manner. There's that brief moment of nothing. There's a brief moment of everything being out of time and out of space. And out of time, we're just going to look at time. Time's a construct. So with time, for those of you that are old enough to know, a clock, a wind up clock, and certain fake clocks, they would go tick, 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 tick. And that's how you knew they were working because you could hear them. Grandfather clocks. You could hear the ticking occurring with the grandfather clock. Excuse me. The ticking is what everyone always hears, but no one pays attention to the silence between the ticks. The beating of the heart is what everyone always hears, but no one pays attention to the silence. Your breath. Your breath is the single most important thing that your body makes use of. You can last a certain amount of time with no food. In fact, there's some that survive for months without food because they're beyond the need for that type of nutritional sustenance. There's there's some that can go without drinking for long periods. So there's people out there that have consumed absolutely nothing over a significantly long period of time. I would almost say those individuals have expanded the silent part to be out loud for their way of life. But every time you take a breath, you take in a breath, and unconsciously there's that brief moment before you exhale that everything just stops. And then after you exhale, again, there's that one brief moment that everything just stops. And then the breath is begins to cycle again. The spaces are literally just as important as what you look at as the actions. It's going to be very important to take note of the spaces. And for some of you, it's actually even going to be working within the spaces and not working within the the forward construct that exists. And I'm not talking left hand path, right hand path. I'm speaking strictly of spaces that you're working in and spaces that have previously been ignored. Things that have been ignored, those days are going. I, I noted a few days ago the world that we live in today is not going to be the same. Excuse me. It's not going to be the same in 3 months. It's not going to be the same in 6 months. Where are you going to be with your silent space? Some will refer to that silent space as a moment out of time. If you're in a moment out of time, you can do whatever you want in that moment. And ultimately, all of this is a precursor for the spiritual, for the spiritual path, for the spiritual knowledge, for the spiritual growth. Such a small thing that's just basically taken for granted but equally as important. Take your time in those spaces of being out of time, and make sure you look at those out of time things in the context of being out of time. And time itself is also a construct that you can work within and control as you grow and as you develop. So the same would apply in this case. Take your time, take your spaces, and also in closing this out, take those spaces, work within those spaces, and sometimes your advantage to working within those spaces is you're working within that space. Everybody else is within the space where the noise is. If you're working in that space, you can probably get a lot more done. If you're working in that space, you're also working to balance out what everyone else is doing in the other space. Ultimately, you want to find your path. You want to find your direction and how you fit into the plan. And you already know how you fit into the plan. You just forgot. Working within these spaces can also help you to remember, excuse me, some of the things that you forgot. And I apologize. This is because of the channeling, the yawns and releases. This is the first time going through this, doing a post. So it's a little bit different for me. I'm going to embrace different. But working in those spaces are places where you could probably thrive a lot better than you've ever thought about. Be prepared to be different, or be prepared to continue to grow and be different. You're not meant to come here and do everything the same way as it's been done in the past. You're not here to follow the pattern that's always been done. The reason why is the pattern's been done. Sometimes the pattern's been completed. Find those spaces of silence. Make your own space. Make your own place. Love, and ultimately work on everything that there is that your soul has for you. Work on those things. Remember, grow, and love. All in the process. Be authentic. I think that's it for this channeling. Thank you and gratitude for listening to this message. And keep your eyes open for other messages. This is Aaron, Peace for Healers. I love you. Make sure you love yourself more. Peace.